On today's episode of the Property Edge podcast,
I very, very firmly believe that real estate is a people business. The houses don't sell or rent themselves. We do as individuals. Consumers, regardless of AI, want more, faster and cheaper. And if we can deliver more with less and meet the client's expectations and hopefully exceed them, that's got to be a plus.
welcome to the Property Edge podcast, where we discover the tech, the tools, and the platforms and data that property leaders across Australia are using to get the edge. My name is Rob Turnbull, and part of my role as marketing manager here at Land Services SA is to get to know real estate and the property industry, really understand workflows and pain points. And so invite you to join me on this journey as I meet with industry leaders here in SA and across the country and discover their perspective on tech, on tools, and on data. And so I'm delighted today to welcome Emma Slape from Turner Real Estate as my guest. Welcome, Emma.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's get started. In case people out there don't know your background, can you give us a quick spiel about who you are, what you do, and what sort of size Turner is as an agency?
Sure, Rob. I'm the Chief Executive of Turner Real Estate. We're a very large rent roll here in South Australia, managing about 4,000 properties, and we've also got a sales team of 20. So we've got about 75 staff all up. I'm also involved in the Real Estate Institute as a board director.
You personally and tech, are you an early adopter? Are you someone who likes to jump in and try things out, or do you let everyone else get all the bugs out of the way and then you give it a crack?
So I probably like to know what's going on, chat to lots of people across the country and find out what's working, and then really map it against what we do in our workflows and our client service journey as well to see whether it's a good fit. And if we think that's a match, we're happy to take it on and give it a go.
So your customer journey, who designed that? I mean, surely this is something that continually evolves, but are you in charge of that, mapping out what piece goes where from a tech perspective in that workflow?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose myself in property management, but Lockie Turner heading up sales is actively involved in that sales journey as well. But for us, it's about the team as well and seeing what works for them. So being able to access data, access what we need on the road, being able to offer the clients more and actually seeing a real measurable result are really important with any tech that we implement now.
Yeah, fair enough. If you were to rate your tech stack out of 10 now compared to 5 years ago, how would it stack up?
Well, rating it out of 10 is really tricky, Rob. I guess we're always adapting and looking at what's changing in the market. And I would definitely say our tech stack is very different. One thing that I'm really mindful of is too much. Suddenly you can turn around and have 8 different products, all with different subscriptions, all doing different things and all creating different data, which is not only a costly exercise but sometimes confusing. So we try and come back to the fundamentals of what drives the business and what works sort of day to day.
So you talk about running too many things. I counted up our tech stack just in marketing. We have 27 different tools that we use to do stuff. And I'm sure your marketing team would have a number of those same ones, but it just gets a bit nuts, doesn't it? And particularly when you need people to use them. So how do you get your team to use them the best? I was once told that it doesn't matter what tools you have, it's about execution. So how do you make sure that your team executes on the tools that you give them?
Yeah, I guess being a larger agency, we have the ability and I suppose also the resources to segment different parts of the process for both sales and property management. So whilst, for instance, in property management, you'll have that same property manager on the whole journey. They'll have people come in and support them. So when the property is vacant, we've got a team that execute all the advertising, make sure the marketing looks professional so you're getting the most views from day one on the website. So there's optimization around that. We put people in charge of those different processes. So they come in and out at different places, and certain members of the team are really, really good at some products and not so much others. But as long as that's around their role, they're playing their role and using it effectively.
So it's about the people ability to actually use and augment the quality of the product? Because you guys use Property Me, is that right, for your property management?
Yes, our trust system is run by Property Me, that's correct.
And so you'd probably have most of your PMs and associated teams connect into that and work out. Would that be a central hub?
Probably how we bind everything together is through the use of a project management system. So from basically when a property comes into our management through to when it's going through lease renewal time, when it's on the internet for advertising, it's all tracked through that external system. So that bolts everything together. It gives us the inspection runs for the weekend. It makes sure that bonds are paid before cases are released. All those sort of small things that add up to being a smooth service is how we tie it all together. So Property Me, of course, is integral for day-to-day management, trust system, bond lodgement, payment of rent, and of course disbursement for owners. But there's lots of other parts that come into the journey as well.
And I was on your website because I do a lot of snooping on people's website. And I've got to be honest, the Turners one, it's brilliant. It's got so much information for buyers and for potential landlords. And one thing I noticed was one of your lead magnets, I assume, is the ability to get an instant appraisal, digital appraisal through Domain Insights. Is that a good generator for you of new leads, or is that just a service you like to provide to get people into your ecosystem?
Yeah, a bit of both. We're often surprised that current clients use it. And likewise, we also get incoming inquiries from new business with that as well. So it's definitely something that people are very aware of. I mean, you think 20 years ago, there was very few people that really knew the value of their property, where it's a really common barbecue conversation now. And with property prices being so topical, it's something that people want to arm themselves with. And it's your property, so you should know what it's worth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things, it's an ongoing difficulty, I know, in the real estate industry, is that you've got a certain level of interest in your property value, but people only really contact a real estate agent when they want to do something. I think the average turnover is about 10 years here in SA. So you need to put a fair bit of effort into that relationship to keep it going for 10 years, don't you?
And data is certainly part of that, understanding the dynamics of what's going on in the local area, and also being a large investment team. People are always thinking about how they can build their wealth, and sort of property investment is one of those pieces. So we're also able to chat to our clients and people within our database with that knowledge and strength, and being able to show them what's actually happened in the local market and give them live examples of that.
So if there's any piece of software or platform that you've implemented in the last 5 years that's been a game changer, or something that's leveled you up more than others, would there be one you could mention?
Well, it's probably not a property tool, and that's the project management system in Airtable, just that we can build it to do whatever we need to. So anything from reporting statistics through to gathering information from new sales listings, from new property listings, about everything we need to know to help the client get a seamless journey from, knowing what the alarm code is and putting that in the system and collecting all of that at the start, rather than the drama of the alarm going off at the first open with 10 people waiting behind you. So we tried to think about everything that makes a smooth property transaction and collect that information and bring it together in one place. And it's also got the ability to push out between different departments and different intersections as well, so you're not having to replicate information. So I think that's really valuable. But of course, within the property sphere, we do see a lot of value with things like Inspect Real Estate, which of course is owned by Repit, in both the collection of data and how we use that and how we communicate with our clients. So that gives us the tools to kind of keep going and see more people at the opens and get through more doors, but actually give people the follow-up that they really need, and clues and information, I suppose, on how to get to the next step if that's what they're after in doing. So I think those are the types of tools that we're all looking towards, is that intuitive type thing. I very, very firmly believe that real estate is a people business. The houses don't sell or rent themselves. We do as individuals. But how can we make that a little bit easier and friction free for both ourselves working within the industry, but also our clients. So they have a better experience and think better of the industry if we continue to invest in property longer term.
I love the fact that you said it's a people industry. People sell properties. And there's a lot of movement online and with the large listing sites. But there must be something about real estate agents, otherwise people wouldn't go to them. There's something there. And if we flick over to where AI is taking us now, I wanted to talk a little bit about AI. What's your perspective on AI and where do you think it's going to fit into your plans?
I think there is a lot of tasks that we do repetitively. So we have deployed Propic on our website to assist people 24/7 with common queries around our rentals and sales. There's a lot of application where it works really well because people will ring all the time, when's the next open, and we're giving the same answer repetitively. So for 99% of those inquiries, we're giving them an answer immediately, whether it's at 3 a.m. in the morning or 7 p.m. at night. And I think that's a real win for the consumer, but it's not going to answer everything. So the challenge with any AI, I think, whether it's property or whether it's a different field, is seeing where the application works and understanding where the application doesn't and how we intersect back and add value as a human.
Your management system that you've built, you've got the data all talking to each other. So I'm sure you have the internal ability to be looking at that side of things and applying AI to it. I know from my marketing analytics, it's absolute game changer for me. Just sieving out all this information and coming up with trends and information that would have taken me hours to do, but AI can do it really, really quickly. And I know locally I get emails from different real estate agents, but they tend to be fairly generic. An EDM is a one-to-many, but AI has this potential. And this is what I'm really excited about in marketing, is that ability for AI to turn that one-to-many email into a one-to-one email, drawing on the CRM data, the property data, the customer's history with you to really drill down into the needs of that specific customer. Do you see that being something that's going to jump in fairly soon in real estate? Because you guys must be sending out so many comms.
Yeah, I do. And I think also time has marched on a little bit in that you don't really care how the real estate agency works out what you want, Rob. But you don't want to see all their listings. You only want to see listings in 3 different suburbs. Now, whether I do that as a human or my friend Claire does that, who's our AI assistant, I don't think matters. And I think there's probably a piece in that is making it really clear when you are using AI. So people can go, oh, that was a really weird answer. Your system tool sucks, but I'm still going to call Emma, I'm still going to call Rob, or, I haven't been tricked into thinking I'm talking to a human. I think that's where people feel really uncomfortable about it. So, and that's what I like about Propic. Hopefully 95 to 98% of the time it's going to answer in a meaningful way and give people what they want to know 24/7. But we're not pretending that it's a human interacting. It's drawing back onto the database to find out the information that already exists that may not be in the ad, but we've given it permission to use. It's not going to make up answers and it's not going to be something that's incorrect. But we're making it really clear that you're talking to Claire, who is AI, not Rob, who's a real human. And I think as long as people get what they want, I don't think that that's going to be a big deal. If you're negotiating with a AI tool, I think people are going to feel really differently about it. And I think that's where the line really needs to be drawn is what do I expect from a human and what do I expect from AI and how do they meld together or where do they intersect or where do they cut off? Sort of any of those 3 could be different depending on what process you're involved in property.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess one of the benefits of you guys being a larger agency is you have this scale and this capacity to work this sort of stuff out, internally. Have you got any advice for smaller agents or agencies who are looking at this, scratching their head and go, I don't know where to start?
Well, I always think that history will teach us good lessons. So in understanding what other people are using and just picking up the phone and saying, hey, what works and what doesn't, getting on people's websites and going, gee, that's dreadful. Or I think that really works. People are already out there doing it, so don't recreate the wheel. And funnily enough, I find real estate agents are pretty friendly amongst each other. Sure, we're competitive in listings and those types of things, but if we're a stronger industry, it's a better outcome for everybody involved, both us working in it and, of course, consumers. So that can only be a positive thing in my view.
Absolutely. And as I said before, you can have the same tools, but if you execute differently, it really doesn't matter. So sharing that information is pretty safe. And I just have one final question for you, and I hope you don't mind getting out your crystal ball, giving it a bit of a shine. Looking 5 years into the future, where do you think your tech stack will be, or where are the areas you think you might be leaning into that you don't at the moment?
It's a really hard one, isn't it? I think in the last sort of 12 to 24 months, we've seen a bit of a consolidation in the tech space. Consumers, regardless of AI, want more, faster and cheaper. So as any business, not just real estate, we've got to be mindful of those things. And if we can deliver more with less and meet the client's expectations and hopefully exceed them, that's got to be a plus. And I think that people are willing to do more as well. So perhaps tenants might be willing to upload more information, or owners are happy to sort of set up how they want to be communicated with in a regimented way. And that might be a different service. I don't know. But I suppose in real estate, we're real problem solvers. People don't want to manage property themselves. They don't want to sell property themselves. It's a massive financial risk to do those things. And removing the emotion, I think, and giving us the hard jobs in negotiation and dealing with conflict will always be there. And that's where our value has to be. So a long answer to that, Rob, is anything that can get us to that point quicker without skipping steps, I think is really, really valuable. And that's what everybody in the transaction wants.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, I think that's probably a good spot to finish it there. We've covered a bit of everything from platforms to the future to AI. And I think there's some good perspectives there that hopefully some of the listeners can take home and maybe even apply in their own business. Emma, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Rob. It's been a pleasure.
And listeners, please do consider subscribing to the Property Edge podcast. There's plenty of other episodes out there already. And if you like this sort of content, please do consider signing up for our newsletter. Details are in the show notes. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
The Property Edge podcast is produced by Land Services SA. Learnings from the show help inform the ongoing development of the Property Edge property research platform. Visit www.propertyedge.app to learn more. And yes, well done if you picked it. This is an AI voice.